Thank you. My name is Mike Connolly. I'm an attorney. I live at 20 Harding Street. I serve as the secretary for the Association of Cambridge Neighborhoods. I'm also a board member with Green Cambridge, and as Lee mentioned, I'm currently organizing a campaign in support of a citizen zoning amendment petition that calls for net zero development here in Cambridge. And I'd like to just make a couple of comments in that context about the planned building here at 300 Mass Ave. First, I think it's important to recognize that the project reinforces good smart growth principles by locating jobs near transit. And I think it's great that the project will obtain LEED Gold status. And as I was looking through the submission today, I noticed that the plan for this building is to source 35% of the electrical needs from renewable sources, off-site renewable electricity that will come through the grid to the building. And it's actually been stated by Forest City that they're considering 70% of the electricity. That would take them to an exemplary standard under the LEED Gold certification. And so for us who were working on net zero, that was actually wonderful news, because that's 70% of the way to net zero. And so in that context, I started thinking, how could we move this from 70 all the way to 100% net zero greenhouse gas emissions? And so a couple of questions I had are, what was the thinking regarding whether there would be on-site generation of power? As you know, at the Martin Luther King Junior School earlier this summer, our city broke ground on a 169,000 square foot building that will actually, it's projected to generate 60% of its power on site through ground source heat pumps, photovoltaic panels. Obviously there's some difference between the energy needs of a school and a biolab, but that brings me to my next point. We learned earlier this summer that the nation's first net zero biolab is nearing completion in La Jolla, California. That's the Venter Institute. This is a 45,000 square foot biolab, but much like this building, it will be a high intensity biomedical research facility. The interesting thing there is that biolab is generating all of its energy directly on site. So in conclusion, I think that the fact that the plan here is, at least for 2 years, to source electricity from renewable sources offsite is wonderful. I'd love to see that bumped up all the way to 70% to obtain the exemplary standard. And I'm definitely curious to know if there is some space to squeeze solar panels on the roof. I've read that there's thoughts that maybe someday there would be some vegetation on the roof. I think that's a fine idea, but I'd love to see some sort of analysis as to what the thinking was, to maybe try to bump this all the way to net zero. Certainly for the city, if we could claim that this was a net zero building, it would be a huge triumph for everyone. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Susan Ringler, R-I-N-G-L-E-R. I live at 604 Green Street. Good evening, planning board members. I am here this evening as a member of the Cambridge Committee for Net Zero Buildings to speak on the urgency of climate change and the vital role of you, the planning board, to ensure that large new buildings in Cambridge are built for the future. The building plan for 300 Mass Ave will be with us for a long time, probably 50 years or more. And I commend the Forest City team for their pursuance of efficiency design and construction standards equivalent to LEED Gold level. But I also urge all of you, the planning board, Forest City, and their tenant, Millennium, to think hard about adopting an energy performance standard for the building at 300 Mass Ave. An energy performance standard. What do I mean? Building an efficient building is important, but running that building efficiently for 50 years without putting more carbon into the atmosphere is the only way that we can slow down climate change. That is what a net zero emissions performance standard does. And it can be done at 300 Mass Ave. In addition to the excellent efficiency measures that Forest City details on pages 31 to 34 of their report, I recommend the following. Rooftop solar installation, because, as the report states, 75% of the roof surface has high solar reflective value. A great place for solar. 2, require that subtenant energy be metered and reported. And 2, increasing the buying of local New England renewable energy from 35% to 100% for the lifetime of the building. I personally buy 100% renewable energy for my home in Cambridge today for about 10% more than basic N-Star. This is affordable today and will certainly save money in the future as demand for renewable energy pushes the costs of that energy down. By doing these things, this building can become Cambridge's first net zero building. We, the city of Cambridge, can be a leader in climate action. We can support our emerging New England renewable industries, and we can continue to attract innovative and cutting-edge companies to Cambridge. There is a synergy here between environment and economy. So I ask you to please take the long view. The world will be a very different place in 50 years, and our buildings have to reflect that. Net zero buildings are the future, and Cambridge can lead the way into that future. And the time for us to start changing is now. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Aaron King. I live at 40 Essex Street. Aaron, K-N-G. I would just like to comment on the possibility of photovoltaics on the roof. I think that there has been a lack of analysis there. We haven't seen that, and it is known that this could produce maybe 5 to 10% of the electricity that the building would need, and I think it's a great step forward to really start requiring that our developments, look for on-site generation. I also believe that we should start requiring the metering of electricity and reporting. It'd be really great to have, these kind of numbers as a city and understand what we're really emitting and stuff like that. And lastly, I'd just like to say that, while glass looks fancy, it's probably one of the least sustainable approaches to architecture. And from a heating standpoint, it's very inefficient. And so, I'm also part of the Connolly petition and that campaign, and we're hoping to have an open session with developers who want to come and talk about it at the Spalding Rehabilitation Hospital at 7 p.m. on the 14th, and we urge Forest City to come and discuss, these type of ideas and what their concerns are with them. Thank you.